people,
who take what they're given like a plastic little
person.
Rapadoo. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Frustrated Grad podcast, and this is episode 3 of the Frustrated Wrestling Fan. I'm Zach Hughes, and here's my co-host, writer, movie fan, wrestling fan, Tony Hoffman.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Zach, how's your week been?
It's been all right. It was full of more wrestling than I could have anticipated, but I think I survived.
You love wrestling. There's never enough wrestling.
I love/hate wrestling, but I guess that's what makes me a frustrated wrestling fan.
Bipolar wrestling.
Yeah, totally. So let's see, where should we start? The biggest show that kicked off the beginning of last week for us is SummerSlam, right?
Yeah, SummerSlam. Yeah, the big 4+ hour extravaganza in Brooklyn.
That's just too much to me. I'll say it right now, I did not watch all of that kickoff show. Sorry, maybe I'll see the highlights later, but no, I had to just show up for the main event. I mean, more than the main event, but the main show at least.
Sure. It was like the tag team match or something that happened during the pre-show, which I also didn't see. But
yeah, there was a big tag team match where I guess the Usos, Vaudevillains, and Hype Bros were on one team, and the American Alpha, Breezango, and the Ascension, I guess, were on the other side. I don't know. I didn't see it, but
I hear
it sounds like it was good. The big multi-man tag matches are usually good on those shows. The funny thing to me is that this thing they made a big deal of on Raw, Sheamus and Cesaro having a best of 7 series that was going to start at SummerSlam. It was pushed to the pre-show, so they're already establishing that it doesn't matter, and it's just to fill time.
No. Even that's just them admitting that it doesn't matter, that nobody cares.
Yeah, so it's like
they had it before them.
Like, okay, match number 2 will happen whenever. The whole series could be over for all we know, and we've never seen one match. So yeah, Sheamus won the first one, whatever, and they're just
I'll take your word
back and forth. Sami Zayn and Neville defeated the Dudley Boys, whatever. Okay, so
Dudley Boys, pretty much their last significant match, or they're probably their last match.
Maybe. I have an opinion on that when we get to Raw. Okay, so the show starts out, I believe, with Natalya, Alexa Bliss, and the returning Nikki Bella versus,
which everyone knew was going to happen.
Yeah, everybody knew it was going to happen. Even though she was on the bad guy team, she got the biggest ovation of the match.
That's that's such a whitewashing of how everybody felt about her before she got injured and stuff, because she pretty much hated her, and now she's back from this injury. Now not everybody likes her.
That's the thing that happens when you come back from an injury. You're showing that real life overcoming adversity. It usually turns people babyface.
Yeah, I applaud her for that. Yeah. I was happy that she came back nice and healthy. Her career was kind of in jeopardy a little bit there, and she worked hard and got back. So I'm good to have her. I'm good she's back.
Yeah. So their team beat Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi. So that match was what it was. Show starter, curtain jerker, as they say.
Her neck is good.
Yeah. So after that was, I don't know if these were in order, but Charlotte and Sasha Banks fought for the women's championship, and Charlotte won, surprisingly enough. I wasn't expecting that.
I think that we most, like everybody else, thought that Sasha was going to win to keep the belt, the women's title belt. But I think right before, I think it might have been right before SummerSlam, word had got out that Sasha had been removed from the schedule, the WWE schedule for the next month, and people were assuming, she's about to get suspended.
Yeah, because there have been so many suspensions. Is there just another one to add to the list? But apparently it's for recovering from injuries, right?
Yeah, little nagging stuff to give her some time to recover. So Charlotte has the belt back. It was mentioned on on Raw the next day that when Sasha comes back, she's gonna have a chance to. It's gonna be a rematch to get the belt back. So
yeah, so that was that match. Next was Gallows and Anderson. They technically beat the New Day by disqualification. It was pretty much a no contest.
They didn't have Big E.
Yeah, they didn't have Big E, and then the fight really gets out of hand, and Big E comes out for the save. Everybody's happy he was finally back. So that one's basically a no contest. The Miz and Apollo Crews fought for the IC championship. I don't remember this match much at all.
I don't either.
In and out, but Miz won. Obviously, I didn't expect Apollo Crews to win this one because I think Miz
is boring as fuck.
Yeah, Miz is on a roll right now, and we'll talk about that when we get to SmackDown. But I'm glad he held on to it.
I am.
Jericho beat Enzo and Cass in a decision I don't understand, because Enzo and Cass I would assume are like top contenders for the tag championship, and they're I don't know why they're losing
more
right
entertaining.
now. Yeah, so I don't understand why they're losing right now, and I don't even understand why Kevin Owens is being wasted in this tag team right now. But whatever.
He seems. I would like to see him solo. I would like to see him be a contender for for the heavyweight title.
Yeah, and we're gonna see him fight for the title coming up with next week. So hopefully they decide to go a different way with that team. Yeah.
I just like how unconventional he is.
Yeah,
like physically as a wrestler.
Totally. Yeah. So Rusev and Roman Reigns fought for the IC championship. It never happened. It basically was a no contest. Also, kind of trying to get Roman Reigns over as this badass. So it's basically just beat up Rusev. Match didn't even start.
I was reading something. Somebody that I follow on Twitter. Do you think that Rusev, he has too much of a baby face to be like a heel? Like they're obviously
Absolutely.
Always trying to.
I mean,
yeah, I don't buy him as being. Like
I think in front of a crowd, like when he's doing his promo, he gets over as a heel because he's good at doing the anti-American act. So they'll get into the USA chants or whatever, but his character outside of that and all the stuff that went on with Lana and when he was with Summer Rae for that brief period of time, I think that really got him over as a face.
He's too nice of a guy.
They realized how funny he was, so I think that worked against his heel persona, because I don't think anybody was really yeah, Roman, I want you to beat him. So this was kind of just a time waster. Next match was probably the first one on the whole show that I was anticipating, was AJ Styles versus John Cena.
Yeah.
Even though we've seen it before, but AJ won with not so clean a finish the first time. I'm glad that they got a longer match. They got to do more. A lot of people don't like the finisher kickouts and make the finishers look weak, but I thought they did a good balance of that. I liked how Cena just felt like he couldn't put him away. You could see the expression on his face every time it would kick out. Yeah, so I thought that was cool, and I like that AJ got a good clean win over him.
Yeah. And John Cena is now a part-time wrestler. He's got other commitments now, and
he's gonna go film American Grit on Fox because it was such a smash hit the first season. Yeah.
Time for new blood.
Yeah, totally. Next was Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler. This was the I would say the only one I saw from start to finish. Really? So that one for me, it was one that I wasn't really anticipating. I knew it was going to be a good match, but just with the build up and them trying to make Ziggler look credible, it was I know how this is going to end. I can see this from a mile away, so just to get it over with. But for that one, I think it was interesting because usually the way matches go in WWE is that when they're, because these are pretty much two baby faces facing each other, but usually like whoever's taking the more heel stance, if they're like getting extra cocky about it and extra confident, then they're gonna lose. But it was interesting that Dean Ambrose basically was mocking Ziggler the entire match, and he just put him away and won clean. So it was funny. Like, it feels like a legit burial of Ziggler, but I'm sure he's gonna be doing. Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna be doing something else. But
I mean, he got another opportunity, you know, on Raw, which we're gonna talk about. But you know,
yeah, SmackDown actually.
Yeah, on SmackDown.
Yeah,
but so I don't know what's gonna happen now.
I don't know, and also we talked about this before we started recording, but. Okay, we saw this commercial. I think it was before this match, but there was this commercial for KFC, and I really didn't know what I was watching when it came on the screen. Like, okay, so there's Dolph Ziggler dressed as Colonel Sanders,
bit muscly. Colonel Sanders,
muscly red Colonel Sanders.
He obviously doesn't eat KFC.
Yeah. He's taking on The Miz, who's dressed as a chicken. So basically,
San Diego chicken-esque.
Yeah, so basically like a takeoff of the chicken fight from Family Guy, but in a wrestling ring, all to promote KFC chicken. And I didn't know what I was seeing. I was like, this guy, you want to be believed as a top contender for your main championship, is in a commercial dressed as Colonel Sanders, and another guy who's trying to get over as a serious heel and as a top guy on SmackDown with the Intercontinental Championship is dressed as a chicken. So just really didn't know why this existed and like what was the upside of it. I guess money is
as
usual,
that's exactly
is the upside.
Yeah, product placement, KFC. You know, I assume that the large portion of the WWE fandom eats there. Certainly not the wrestlers.
Yeah, I'm sure there were some greasy fingers turning up the volume at this period of time when this
coleslaw and mashed potatoes and gravy.
Yeah,
filled guts.
Yeah, so I guess, and apparently this isn't the end of this thing.
It's an ongoing.
Yeah, from what I heard, they're like at the next pay-per-views there will be more of these little vignettes, and I can't wait.
They're a sponsor. Yeah. Are you more of a Popeyes guy or
I never really liked any
Chick-fil-A.
I never really liked any of the mainstream chicken places. I was always more of a Harold's person, because like
Harold's man.
But that's the thing, is like I used to love KFC as a kid because it was right around the corner from me, and I could walk there. Like I was one of those kids
Mine was
who
like
saved
a couple
up.
of blocks.
Yeah, I was one of those kids who saved up my allowance, so I would just buy whatever I wanted when I wanted. So like on Friday nights, I would go and get like the 20-piece box of
20-piece box.
Yes, for myself, 20-piece box of.
Were you morbidly obese?
No, they were actually the little, but they were like the honey barbecue wings. So they were like
boneless ones.
No, they were. I think most of the time I got the ones with bones, but they were like so sauced up and extra sticky, and I just loved them. So I would get 20 of those, and I would get one of their little. I don't know if they have
individual sides.
No, I would get one of those little chocolate cakes with the white frosting. And I would eat all the wings, and I would eat that entire cake by myself.
Big chunk of sugar, basically.
Yeah, and it was usually while I was watching Snick on Nickelodeon.
Roundhouse.
It was like my routine. I would watch like Are You Afraid of the Dark, all that, and Goosebumps or whatever.
Oh, those were the days.
Yeah. So like I love KFC, but then that ended up being like the first place I ever worked at that exact KFC.
Oh yeah, I can relate to how
So
you end up working at a place that you like, and then that totally changes your opinion on it.
So then you learn how the sausage is made, and you don't,
exactly, go behind the curtain.
You don't want sausage ever again. Actually, the weird thing is that I didn't learn anything that was really discouraging about the chicken. Like I would still eat KFC chicken. I just had an aversion to the place. Like I didn't like the memories I had going into the building.
But asshole manager.
Yeah.
Stupid employees.
It was weird. The manager was like a family friend, but then it was like, no, you're no friend of mine. After this, like I quit on him after 6 months. I was like, hey, fuck you. I'm out of here. Tired of washing these dishes.
Take this drumstick and shove it.
Yeah. So like the one bad thing I learned, and hopefully this doesn't get me sued, but I will say at this particular branch, and I'm not even gonna say the name anymore because you know where I'm talking. But at this particular branch, when they made the pot pies, it was basically they made the pot pies at the end of the day, and they just tore up the chicken that didn't sell that day by hand, and then they made the pot pies for the next day. So I'm like, I'm not a pot pie person.
Neither am I. I've never had.
But I was like, I'm never gonna get that pot pie from that franchise. But anyway, moving on.
On that note.
Yeah. So.
You go to the next match at SummerSlam.
So what do we have? Next was Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins.
Once again, Mr. Rollins injures another wrestler. He's gaining a bit of a reputation.
Yeah, it's a bad look. It was like I feel bad for both guys actually. Like Finn Balor, he wins his first major championship. It was like a huge move.
Just got drafted about over a month ago.
Like he was in the middle of a ginormous push, maybe one of the biggest of any debuting wrestler in WWE history.
I was trying to remember who would you compare it to? Like Cena? Did Cena have to
really, this isn't a move they pull in WWE that often. I would think of way back to in WCW where the Big Show, as we know him now, the Giant, fought Hulk Hogan in his first match and won the world title. That's how far back I had to go to be somebody in kind of their debut. He won, obviously, a qualifying match, but this is his first pay-per-view match on the main roster. He wins the title that's supposed to be the major title on Raw. It was a huge deal. So it's really unfortunate that he got injured in that same match.
And you look at how he got injured. He pretty much got picked up by Rollins and he threw him up against the barrier.
Yeah, it's just like a running power bomb.
Yeah,
that he usually does in the corner. Funny. Yeah, it looks like it's a hard move to take, I'm sure, because you're getting thrown in the air, and I guess he didn't exactly know where he was, so he probably put his arm back too far to stop himself, but he popped his shoulder out of the socket. And I like how they talked about it on commentary the next night, they did a replay of it. It was if you notice right here, he pops his shoulder back into place. They still wanted to make sure you knew that this guy was a badass, that he popped his shoulder back into place and finished the match.
Yeah.
So that was a nice thing that they spotlighted on commentary the next night. But he finished the match. They went on to have a great match. You wouldn't be able to tell from watching the match. I don't think that his shoulder was messed up. Apparently found out more later that it started hurting more.
Yeah, had his arm in a sling on Raw the next night.
Yeah. So we know he wins the match. So I like that match. I just wish that what happened didn't happen during it. And another match where I regret what happened during the course of the match was the following one: Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. So I thought this match was. Yeah. I wasn't excited about the wrestling in this match because like we were talking about before the show, I feel like I've turned a corner on Brock Lesnar as far as how I feel about his wrestling ability. Because people are excited for Brock Lesnar matches, but not in the same way they're excited for like an AJ Styles match or a John Cena match.
You're not gonna watch any like cool moves or any like good,
yeah,
technique or anything.
Because we know the formula basically has been put in place from that John Cena match at a couple SummerSlams ago, where he just basically suplexed John Cena the entire match and then F5'd him. That is now the formula for a Brock Lesnar match.
It's a freak show. Basically.
Yeah, so that's what people were anticipating. And another thing people were anticipating was like, okay, they're making Randy Orton look like a big deal. So from podcasts I heard, a lot of people were looking forward to the spot where Randy Orton hits the RKO out of nowhere, and the one of the obvious ones was that he would reverse the F5 into an RKO mid move, and I was like, okay, if I see that move, then I'll be satisfied. We did not get that move. What we got was a little bit of back and forth. They went to the outside. He gets the RKO on the announce table, comes in, DDTs him for a good near fall. It's another RKO, and then the unthinkable happens. Brock is pretty much on top of him, pounding, and then I guess they decided, as far as the bookers were concerned, it was like, let's just have Brock go into UFC mode in this match. Although elbows, I believe, are illegal, but he just is grinding on him. He's pounding him. I think he takes his gloves off, and then he just starts elbowing Orton in the head, and he's busted open. And I like what Mauro Ranallo said on commentary, that he like, it looks like a horror movie, like, because there's just this huge pool of blood like right next to Orton's head, and you could just see the stream constantly coming down. So I think it was interesting how they played it out, because we find out later that it was planned, because it totally didn't look like something you would like intentionally set out to do if you were like, if you're Orton, like, agreeing to this.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's like, please, not, like,
crack anything my head but open that, like,
put my life in danger, possibly.
Because like, these guys get fined for blading, as they say, like when they actually hide a razor blade and cut themselves. But like, to do it hard way, as they say, like really legitimately busting someone's head open, I don't know why anybody would sign up for that.
No, not enough money.
Yeah, so
it was real. It was so real that Chris Jericho,
Yeah, and that was an interesting bit of news from this week. Like, after the match, Jericho gets in Brock's face. Well, I think originally he comes up to Michael Hayes, he's kind of the booker. He kind of outlines the matches with the guys. He asked him, like, was this planned? Was this a work, as they say in the business? And I guess he just doesn't tell him. He doesn't respond at all. So then he goes up to Brock, because I guess at this point he believes Brock went into business for himself, was being reckless. And they have
Jericho is a leader, a locker room leader, a guy who definitely respects wrestling.
That's something I didn't necessarily know, but that's a nice bit of inside information, because normally when you hear stuff about the type of politics in the locker room, you will hear about John Cena, like he's like the locker room leader. Now that he's not on the main show anymore, it's nice to see that there's still somebody in that position. So Jericho basically standing up for the boys and trying to see like what's the deal.
I appreciated that.
Yeah, so he gets in Lesnar's face, and I guess they have a little bit of a tense moment. Brock blows a kiss at him. I guess it seems like there's conflicting reports. Like, either he blows a kiss at him or he kisses him on his forehead directly. But he's Jericho says something along the lines of "kiss me or hit me, bitch." So I just thought that was interesting. It sounds like Vince eventually broke it up. It's like, don't you understand? This is fake. It's pretty much what he said to him. It's like, it's a work. So it finally gets cleared up, but I don't like the fact that they were like just withholding this, because it's like, why do you need to hide it from the wrestlers? They should know what's going on their show. So it got a little heated, but that was an interesting story that we learned from SummerSlam. It was a decent amount of news coming out of SummerSlam, and most of it not very good, but
exactly,
that was the most interesting piece of news. The next show we watched this week was it Monday Night Raw?
Monday Night Raw, like we do every week, for better or for worse.
Like we do it this time. So Raw's such a long show. It's like,
yeah, I know. Just, oh god. So we obviously they had to start off with the whole recap of a SummerSlam. We get an update.
Yeah.
From a Finn Balor.
Yeah. So we find out
shoulder thing.
Yeah, we find out about what actually happened to his shoulder. I didn't see any, I wasn't watching the wrestling news that day, so I only found out when I started watching Raw, and I was shocked. So Balor has to relinquish his title due to injury.
He only had it for less than 24 hours.
Yeah, it's just so sad because I felt really excited about the prospect of what was going to happen, and it was like, okay, they're
new blood, man.
Yeah, they're really pushing this guy. It's going to be exciting because when going into the match, it was like, there's no way they can have Seth Rollins win. This is supposed to be a new era. We should have a new champion. It's going to be exciting. And then, sadly, that's cut short, and we're back to reality.
Yeah.
So
I wonder who's going to get that push now with him. What does he have for 6? Is it 6 months or is it less than that?
I believe it's 6 months.
Oh God.
So that's no bueno.
That sucks.
Yeah. So that's not a good look, but that's where we are as far as Balor. He had to relinquish the championship, and now there's basically they set up a fatal 4-way championship match for next Monday. So that is how they start out the show. The first match in that tournament was actually Neville versus Kevin Owens. In that match, you could just tell by the marquee on that Kevin Owens was obviously going to advance. After that was Big E versus Carl Anderson. Big E's in-ring return. He wins that one. Next was an unfortunate segment, I feel. Titus O'Neil came out to cut a promo, and he was stumbling and fumbling over every word, and just really felt bad for him because Titus O'Neil was on one of those trajectories that he was heading towards possible main event status, or at least high mid card status, and now it just seems like he's in limbo, and he was put out here for this promo, and I don't think this is gonna help his stock any.
His mic work is lacking.
It was definitely lacking. It was just really unfortunate, and that's one of the things that's a problem with scripting guys' promos, because it doesn't feel natural coming from them, and they don't feel natural delivering it, and he obviously didn't really feel attached to the script that he was given.
So he was basically out there stumbling through crap about
calling out Darren Young and
Darren
Bob
Young.
Backlund.
How you make him great again
when
he's
he was never great
in the first place?
Yeah, it's okay, we've heard this before, and it's just a much worse version of it. So I think Bob Backlund comes out first. He gets some good offense on Titus, and then Titus turns it around, and then Darren Young comes out to basically break it up. After this, we had Big Cass versus Rusev is another kind of tournament style match for this 4-way championship match. Big Cass.
Did you know that Rusev got hurt a little bit, or his ribs or something?
Really?
At SummerSlam.
Oh yeah, because he had the tape on him.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that till they showed him coming out. So I guess something happened in the brawl with Roman Reigns, because it was there wasn't a match, but so I guess it was whenever he took that spear on the ramp. I guess he went a little stiff, but so Cass beats Rusev via count out So
yeah, he
whatever.
Stepped out of the ring and left with Lana.
Yeah, so he basically gives away his shot at a Universal Championship match, which doesn't really make sense. I understand like the idea of the cowardly heel, but when he has so much to gain, I guess he already has a championship, so maybe he's just staying alive to fight another day, I guess. But I don't know why Big Cass is in this position, because it seems like basically just everybody who came out and interrupted Stephanie when she was talking got a chance at the title. It's like
where was Heath Slater when you
yeah, exactly them? Because it's like, why would Enzo and Cass came out during that opening segment? It was like Enzo, like neither one of these guys should be contention for the main world championship, so to speak. No. But they just came out just because that's what people were doing, and I guess it worked out for them. I don't know why Enzo didn't end up getting a match, because he was there too. But whatever. Yeah, like, let's pick the bigger one. All right, so we got a debut that people were anticipating. I was anticipating, and finally,
yeah.
I guess this is what they were waiting for, because we didn't mention it before, but just like SummerSlam and for NXT TakeOver, they were in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center again for the third straight night.
With Sasha being gone, this is the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, it was a perfect opportunity in a perfect place, because it seems like the thing now, like the night after WrestleMania and the night after SummerSlam, where you have these big excited crowds, the most rowdy crowds you'll get all year, they debut the NXT people, because they're the people that are most likely to recognize them. So it was a good ovation and reception for Bayley. One thing I don't understand is why Mick Foley had to announce her. I feel like he didn't need to be there. I feel like they just could have had Dana Brooke come out, and then all of a sudden you hear Bayley's music hit.
Yeah.
So you could just have a natural screaming reaction from the fans, because he kind of telegraphed it like
it's too much lead up and too much
like I signed a new star. She's very exciting, and from NXT, here's Bayley.
And everybody had their signs and stuff out.
Yeah, everybody knew
her shtick.
I guess the only reason, and I've heard this from other podcasts, that I guess she needed to have someone to hug when she came out, because she's a hugger. So I guess Mick Foley needed to be there for that. Although Mick Foley is getting kind of a weird reputation as being like a creepy dude.
Really?
As far as like, he's been like, and I feel like
his daughter's hot.
Yeah, people are obsessed with his daughter, but I feel like this is kind of an unfair thing, but he's been like an outspoken advocate for women's wrestling, but people have kind of turned that to be like he's a creeper, because even going way back to Melina, when she was in the company, he was like a real advocate for her as far as her wrestling career getting started.
Why can't he just be he's an advocate for women's wrestling? Why do people have to assume that? Yeah, because he's a big hairy guy.
Yeah, because like Triple H is a big part of why the women's wrestling in NXT has gotten so good, and they're so focused on the wrestling, but they don't focus on him like, oh yeah, he's probably creeping on those girls. Like, no, he's just helping them out and wants them to get by. But I don't know.
He's a smart businessman.
Yeah, but it's a weird thing it's really taken off as far as how people look at that. Even I watched the debut episode of Holy Foley, his reality show.
First 4 episodes on demand.
Yeah, I think 5 actually, but I watched the first one because it came on after SummerSlam, and I think they even mentioned it on there because he was wearing a Sasha Banks t-shirt at home, and his kids were like, "Hey, Dad, you look really creepy wearing that shirt." It's like, okay, I kind of get that. Like, wearing the merch, it's kind of you wear a shirt that says legit boss in pink, but either way. So
He's a fan.
Yeah, so Bayley comes out. She beats Dana Brooke in her first match, so it's a good, nice way to debut her. So she's obviously gonna probably be going for that women's championship. Next we have our jobber match with Braun Strowman.
What was the name of that guy again? Everybody's making fun of him.
The guy's name was Johnny Knockout. Like as far as the names for these jobbers, I'm sure they make them all up the day of, but this was like the worst, laziest one. Johnny Knockout. This seems like a nickname you would call somebody like John Cena. It's not like
Johnny Bravo.
It's not like a name that's supposed to stick. But this guy.
What is it? What is the type of men that
Yeah, so he cuts his standard promo before the match with Byron Saxton. He's like, "Why did you take this match?" It was like, "It's because I like big sweaty men." And it's like, okay, like,
do you think that's kind of like homophobic or like what? Why?
I think this is the idea of being inclusive through the lens of crazy ass 70-plus-year-old Vince McMahon. It's like, because we heard something about this. I don't know if it was on Twitter or whatever, but Stephanie McMahon said previously that they're going to start introducing more LGBT characters in WWE programming. And for some people that might be like, oh, that's good and that's progressive, but coming from the same person as Stephanie McMahon, who said that Darren Young, who is a gay person in real life,
openly gay,
yes, he said his character is not gay yet. Like, yet. And like, yet. Why does he have to turn gay? Like, you turn heel. It's like, what is he just gonna be in the middle of a match and just start making out with his opponent? Like, how does his character become gay? Like, we don't see these people have sex on screen because it's not the Attitude Era anymore. But Jesus. That was just weird, and you see how they're kind of backwards in their things. So this is one of the LGBT characters that they're debuting here.
He likes big sweaty men.
Yeah, and it kind of gives new meaning to the word jobber. But moving on, so
Strowman beats him easily.
Yeah, I like what Corey Graves said after this, because when the match started, he's like, "It's too bad this guy likes sweaty men because Braun Strowman's gonna beat him without breaking a sweat." I was like, that was a nice way to recover from that. It was like, it brought me right back into the show. I was like, okay, that was nice.
Oh, okay.
That might be my line of the week. So that was a quick match. Next is the Dudley
retirement.
Boys. Yeah,
of the quote unquote retirement of the Dudley Boys.
Yeah, so I thought and it's weird, the timing of this and what they were doing in as far as their storyline leading up to this, because it totally made me expect something different. Because we've seen this kind of retirement set up before, and it made me immediately think of Mark Henry. Mark Henry came out, it's been a couple years ago at this point. He came out, he was wearing a salmon colored blazer, and he gave this long speech basically like talking about all his experience and what the long road he's gone through with the fans. And it seemed like he was going to retire, and then John Cena comes out to kind of congratulate him on a hard fought career, and he basically turns, and it was all a fake out, and it was to beat up John Cena and get a title shot.
Which is nice.
Yeah, and it was like one of the best like retirement segments I've ever seen. I was like, oh my god, that was epic. And I felt like this was leading on that same road, because I was thinking like, okay, Bubba Ray and Devon leading up to this point were like teasing dissension between their tag team. They kept having like miscommunication between matches, and Devon would accidentally knock Bubba Ray off the apron or whatever. So it seemed like they were leading to a breakup. So when they were doing this retirement speech, I kept waiting for the moment, like, okay, Devon's going to turn around and Bubba Ray's going to attack him, because like anybody who saw Bubba Ray in TNA was waiting for him to do his character of Bully Ray in WWE, because it was him as a single competitor, and he was doing his best promo work, and he was he was really stepping up his in-ring game, but then he comes back and like reverts to this old character from like the early 2000s when he comes back to WWE. So I thought the turn was going to happen. It didn't happen. No. Then the Shining Stars come out, Primo and Epico. Like, of all the teams to come out, why would you have these guys come out? But we see it's
so just, they could get their ass kicked.
Yeah, so it's basically just for them to be fodder for the Dudleys to hit the 3D on them. But then another team comes out. Twist. Yeah, the club comes out and they actually beat them down and put them through the table. Yeah. So the way some people were talking about it is like it was a passing of the torch, and this was a way for the Dudleys to go out and put another team over. But I feel like, why would they leave when they just got beat up by these guys? Don't they want to get their payback? So I feel like maybe they're leaving, but I don't feel like they're leaving until after they like finish this thing with the club, because that seems like kind of anticlimactic. Like, do you want that to be your last moment on screen? I'm thinking of it, I guess, from the perspective of the Dudleys, because it doesn't make sense, like, to just be like, okay, that was their last appearance. They got destroyed.
No, that's like the harsh reality of wrestling and life, Zach. You can't get older, and you can't stay on top, forever. And
I guess, but the thing is that they were talking about going out on their own terms. And then they get beat up. So it's like, okay, this wasn't our terms. We scheduled to come out and cut a promo and leave, and then we got beat up. So that was counter to what they were talking about. So, but maybe we won't see them again. But I feel like there's gonna be at least one more match. But who knows? Maybe it's over after this. Next was the last match of the night, I believe. It was Roman Reigns versus Chris Jericho for that last spot in the Fatal 4-Way Universal Championship match. And it was weird because they were teasing this going a different way when they were Jericho were doing the interview, because they were saying that how they might possibly be in this match together and they'll have to fight each other. So you would think that they were going to play up that tension, because Kevin Owens obviously qualified, and you would think Jericho has his match to qualify, so they could play out that story. But they decided to go a different way with it, and Roman Reigns wins, which nobody.
It makes me happy.
I think it's good that Reigns is in this match. He's back in the kind of title contention spot, but I don't know. Like, it makes me feel kind of worried about the outcome of this 4-way match, because he's obviously the guy you would expect to win it, but I don't think fans are going to be excited about that, because we would end up.
I like him as a heel. I like Roman Reigns as a heel.
Yeah, but I don't feel like they're really trying to go that way with him. He is a heel with the fans because they don't like him, but I don't know if that's the role he's actually trying to play, or the role that they want him to play.
That's the role that he should be.
He should be playing that, definitely, because people hate him. But I feel like they're going to keep trying the same thing and have him try to do wacky comedy, and it's just not going to go over well. Plus, it's like they went with this, like, how the life of this championship started. Like, new championship, new person we are not familiar with won the title. We got new blood, and then they're going to rewind and possibly go back to Roman Reigns. I feel like people are going to feel like that's a step in the wrong direction. I feel like now the top contender for it would be like Kevin Owens, in my opinion, because nobody wants to see Big Cass as a champion. And yeah, so that's.
But he's so big.
He's so big, and you can't teach that. But yeah, no, he's not the guy we've been looking for. So yeah, so that's it for that match. And
that's raw.
Yeah, so I want to go back a little bit before we get to SmackDown. The debut of that, because there's some more titles being debuted, but the debut of that Universal Championship during SummerSlam, that was probably one of like the worst reactions to any debut
You
ever.
don't like the color of the Universal?
I was okay on it, but like I
Someone
saw
spilled some red paint on the women's championship belt.
Yeah,
I heard someone
basically, or I've heard so many takes on Twitter about it. Like it looks like a fiery Doritos championship, or a bacon belt, because it does kind of look like bacon. And I think the worst part about it is like when you look at the replica if you look at WWE Shop. The replica looks fine. It just looks like a red belt, but it's like the real life belt. The part that looks the worst on it is the background, because it's so like bumpy and textured. it just looks gross. So I feel like if that was just a smooth background, you couldn't see any texture on it, and it was like all red and like consistent throughout, it would have looked better. But it just looks like a lumpy piece of bacon behind the WWE logo. So going from that belt that debuted at the beginning of the week, basically, into SmackDown, where they debut 2 new championships, 3 belts in total. They debut the SmackDown Women's Championship,
which I like. It's basically just a blue version of the red Raw Women's Championship belt.
Yeah. Well, really, because it's all blue, it looks, because it's the white strap and the blue logo, it's kind of looks more prestigious to me.
The women's belts look better than the men's belts.
Yeah, they look better than the World Heavyweight Championships. So I like that belt a lot. I feel like if I had a option to buy a belt besides like the main WWE World Championship that Dean Ambrose has, like that women's belt looks more appealing to me than
blue is my favorite color too.
Yeah, totally. For me, I was like, oh, I want that belt. It's like, can you change the word from women? Like, I guess I could be a champion of women if I want.
Hey, Heath Slater,
Yeah,
he tried.
Yeah, totally. And then they debuted the tag championships, which I feel like
they're very generic.
Yeah, I feel like this twist on the penny belts, as people call them, from the Raw show, like the Raw belts look like 2 pennies, and these look like 2 dimes. But I feel like these look better. I always think that silver looks more prestigious than the copper colored belts they have, because it's like, so what do you like, the third best if you're a tag champ? So having the silver belts, it looks better than the copper penny belts, but it's still not the ideal design. But it's a step up from where they were, at least. I don't know how I feel about the blue strap on it. It's okay, I guess.
It's SmackDown colors.
Yeah, so I guess this gives me more hope, since like when they were announcing them, they said SmackDown Women's Championship and SmackDown Tag Team Championship. So I feel like these are going to be officially SmackDown property. So hopefully they never go into the place where they combine shows and have someone holding both championships on Raw or whatever. Hopefully, like if you go over to Raw, that you have to relinquish the championship. Hopefully that's the route they go with that.
2 separate brands, 2 separate shows.
Legit separate brands. That's what I'm hoping for. And yeah, so that's how SmackDown started out. What was the next thing on SmackDown? Let me see. I think after that it was
it the Bella?
Well, I think
it was Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she beats Alexa Bliss. That is, it was a pretty short match, I think.
Naomi and Natalya doing commentary. I remember.
Yeah, and I feel like Natalya was doing her thing on commentary, and she was getting her lines out or whatever. But I just felt like Naomi was like really soft spoken during that segment.
Exactly, I did too. I just miss somebody like AJ Lee, who was always so good at doing that stuff, and who was always so good at, like, being in character and being on the mic and everything. They were just so boring.
Yeah, because I feel like that was one thing. That's one thing that has improved with the women's division is the in-ring work and the wrestling. But I feel like there still needs to be some time taken out for mic work and promos. I feel like that's one thing that's still missing a little bit.
Definitely.
Next is the Usos versus they defeated the Ascension because I guess they're having a tournament for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. So the Ascension was not going to be in that
belts
picture.
Are out and everyone's trying to get those titles now. Everyone's serious about it.
Yeah, so the Ascension was not going to be in contention for that at all.
Fuck no.
Yeah. So Daniel Bryan makes a match between AJ and Dolph Ziggler, and this is basically as a result of, I think it was the first segment of the show where
AJ's bragging about.
Yeah, he brags about
defeating Cena.
Yeah, and he's kind of trying to take over as the locker room leader, I guess.
And Dolph is there, and he's upset.
Yeah,
because AJ mentioned something about him losing to Ambrose, and Dolph gets in his face. And,
so.
And now they have a beef.
So they make the match for Backlash, and it's weird. The stipulation was weird because it was like the basic gist of it was that AJ has the title shot no matter what, but if Ziggler beats AJ, he gets in that match as a triple threat. So it's like AJ really didn't have anything to lose.
Exactly.
So it was like
he wins either way.
Yeah, so it was like I would have just walked out and let it be a count out because like I get my match anyway. So who cares? But I guess
why even break a sweat?
Yes, but I guess to make sure he has a one-on-one shot, that's what this match is for. Next is Nikki Bella comes out for her return and a move
interview with the Renee.
Yeah, she has an interview with Renee. And a move that I think was well overdue and something that I appreciate them doing was that Carmella turns out and basically they pull off a double turn here. Like Nikki was technically on paper supposed to be a heel, although everybody was happy that she was back. And Carmella is supposed to be a baby face, but she comes out, beats up Nikki. They pull off the double turn. Now Carmella is officially a heel, which I feel like is much better for her because
something interesting.
Plus like her whole routine and her whole gimmick is such a heel gimmick. Like just coming out and how annoying she is on the mic. Like, okay, this makes more sense for her to be a heel.
It fits more. It definitely, everything that she does, like her whole thing, it definitely fits more. And it's gonna be fun to sort of hate her.
Yeah, because
they want you to hate her.
Because the funny thing is, like, she's just doing the same thing as Enzo and Cass, but their gimmick would naturally be a heel thing if they weren't so like charismatic about it. Yeah, exactly. So it's like she does the same thing without the personality. So it's like,
and she's not likable.
Yeah, so it's a better move for her character. So next. What was it? It was a segment between Randy Orton. He comes out to talk about SummerSlam, and
I'm okay, and
this is not the end between me and Brock Lesnar, and then Bray Wyatt.
Lights go out.
Yeah, so Bray Wyatt comes out. What is it?
Takes a seat.
Yeah, he takes a seat and he says whatever. He says, same old Bray Wyatt talk. Things. Yeah. So this is just basically letting us know that
setting up for
they will be the next feud, and we see at the end there's an empty rocking chair. So, ooh, spooky.
Ooh, yeah. Like he totally didn't leave when the lights went completely off.
I was wondering about that, like, because you can see that stuff pretty clearly when you're in the audience.
That's what I was thinking when it happened. Like,
so it's like, did he just run and dive under the ring? Because I'm thinking, like, what's the shortest route out of that position? Like, he could run and go past the ramp off to the side behind him, or he can run and dive under the ring. But I was just thinking about that logistically, but whatever.
I think it was it was long enough for him to like run off the.
I guess so.
Like run down the ramp and yeah.
Yeah. So next was American Alpha versus Breezango or Fabriz for the
Fenty.
Yeah, for the SmackDown Championship tournament.
American Alpha.
Obviously, American Alpha wins because they're the ones who've basically been outlined as the next champions. So we see that result, which was obvious. Then next is the match they set up earlier, AJ versus Dolph Ziggler. And I think
it was an entertaining match.
Yeah, it was a good match. It was, I guess it was kind of supposed to be a little bit of rehab for Ziggler, although it still ends with Ziggler losing.
Despite the K of Colonel Sanders.
Yeah. It still ends up with Ziggler losing, and he does not have his chance at a title rematch, which there's no reason he needed to have a rematch because he lost clean the first time.
Exactly.
So AJ puts him away, so we know it's going to be a one-on-one between AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose at Backlash. So
there was a real nice little midair kick from Ziggler to AJ when he was jumping off the ropes. That was really cool, simultaneous.
Yeah. I always like those moves because it's like the timing has to be just right.
Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah, I admire them for doing that. Ambrose was doing commentary, very entertaining doing commentary.
Yeah, and some of Ambrose stuff before, because I skipped past this stuff, but his stuff like I'm talking about being at the casino.
They were at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, and he had the big hat.
Yeah. So like he was tipping the waitress like, chaps got to be generous. He had to tip extra chips. So I think Ambrose stuff was good on the show, and overall I think as with most weeks I feel like SmackDown was the better show for me. It was more entertaining, and since they are determining the fate of two different championships, there's obviously were more stakes during this show. Oddly enough, Raw had the same situation where they had to basically have a tournament for a champion, but that was completely by accident. So I think that SmackDown was a show that I was more excited about at the end of it and going forward, because we're going to see more matches in this tournament.
I just think that SmackDown, like the way that things are kind of like falling into place, is just turning into just a more entertaining show. And I'm not just saying that just because it's 2 hours. I'm saying that because, I mean, with on the women's side and with Ambrose there, and with AJ Styles, and it's just they're just more entertaining wrestlers.
Yeah,
more entertaining matches.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing is that they have like the two biggest stars in the women's division on Raw, but they really don't have anyone else. And SmackDown basically has like a decent, was 6 people, but it's a decent women's division that they could have multiple matches on the show.
Yeah, it's tighter. Yeah, this little 6, it's smaller and tighter.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like on Raw, they had Sasha Banks and Charlotte, and now they have Bayley, but they don't have Sasha Banks due to injury. So it's like they're lacking something on their side, so I feel like they might need even more call-ups, but I feel like they wouldn't do that necessarily. Did Paige get
drafted by Raw or by SmackDown? Do you remember?
I'm pretty sure she was on Raw because that was one of the big things before the suspension, because they separated them for no reason really, because it didn't really matter what Del Rio was. He was going to be a non-factor on whatever show.
Yeah, they're saying that he may be done with the WWE.
I think it's highly likely because he left on bad terms to begin with, and then they got back into good graces with each other and brought him back to basically do nothing. So it's like there's no reason for this return really. So I could easily see him not coming back. So yeah. So I think that that's the most likely outcome, that he's gone. Hopefully Paige comes back, but I don't know.
I like Paige.
Yeah, I like her a lot, and I like AJ Lee a lot. But it seems like sometimes WWE doesn't mind cutting the ropes and burning their bridges, and so I guess we'll find out. Yeah. So
what's the next pay-per-view is it Backlash? The SmackDown.
I think so. Yeah, the
Okay.
SmackDown branded pay-per-views Backlash. So that card is starting to come together. I think there's still a few weeks to go before it happens, but yeah, they're starting to put the pieces together. There's going to obviously be the finals for the tag team tournament. There's going to be the women's match. It was a 6-pack challenge they announced for the women's championship, and we know there's going to be Ambrose versus Styles. So already right there, it's shaping up to be an exciting pay-per-view. Hopefully it's just standard, I guess 3-hour pay-per-view. Although these network only pay-per-views might end up being shorter, and I would appreciate that. Like to have a 2-hour pay-per-view where it's just wall-to-wall matches would be good, but we'll see. Because I feel like there's less stakes on if it's not on like pay-per-view for it to be 3 hours. They can do kind of whatever they want and use whatever amount of time they need instead of filling up unnecessary time, but we'll see.
I like the Styles Ambrose matchup. You got two pretty crazy personalities there.
Yeah.
Like Ambrose can't get into his head the same way he did with Ziggler.
Yeah,
so
I think and I think it's going to be interesting just to see how their wrestling styles complement each other. Yeah. So that'd be really interesting because that's one thing that I think JBL said on commentary in the past is that styles make matchups, kind of like differences in styles make interesting matchups, basically.
Because he's a little shorter.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. And for this next week of wrestling, SmackDown is the show I'm looking forward to. And, Raw is there too.
Stuff happens on Raw.
Yeah. So I'm going to be checking that out. And I'm going to try to check out some NXT this week, but we'll see how that goes. Because, my wrestling diet, it only consists of so much.
I was watching some of Impact Wrestling.
Okay.
Okay.
How was that? Yeah.
It was like the female like wrestlers and
the
knockouts. The knockouts, as they call them. Yeah, and it was pretty interesting.
All right.
Not much I can say, but yeah.
And that was the Impact report for
the Frustrated
Wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe
you're welcome.
Maybe you can check back in next week with another Impact report and let us know what's going on.
5-second Impact. Oh, no problem.
Yeah,
no problem. Very extensive.
And it's weird because Impact had probably one of the most talked about wrestling segments in recent memory with their like final deletion thing with the Hardys going against each other, and I still have not seen that. But that was the thing that people who hadn't even watched Impact Wrestling were talking about on social media. So I still need to check that out, and I need to be a better wrestling fan because I say I love wrestling, but I stick strictly to WWE. But
you love WWE wrestling.
Yeah, but it's like I do enjoy wrestling. Actually, there was a freelance wrestling show that streamed live this past Friday, and they usually stream their shows live on YouTube, and I still need to check that out. But yeah, I think that's really it for our week of wrestling. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, except for we always promise that we're gonna be back every week, and we are. You may call our style cowardly or safe, but you stay in the game. You keep seeing the game. What can I say?
See, that's another thing we didn't talk about. Like the Miz on Talking Smack was excellent, and I just think that was
best promo in years.
Yeah, that was the thing that was talked about probably the most out of this week was Miz on Talking Smack. Just to quickly recap it, it's funny that Miz came out to see what Daniel Bryan's problem was with him. He wasn't booked on SmackDown, and that he was really upset about that. He's supposed to be the marquee champion on the show, and like how Bryan was just basically saying that he doesn't like the way he wrestles. He feels like he wrestles like a coward, and like Miz's retort, I just thought was
firing.
Yeah, it was really great. It was like
that's why it was hard to tell if it was just,
it felt real.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like you're calling me a coward. I wrestled the way I wrestle so that I can do it day in and day out for 10 years without getting injured. I wrestle like a coward. You're the one who won't come back to the ring. You keep complaining about not being clear to wrestle. Why don't you go wrestle in some bingo hall if you're really not a coward and you want to wrestle someone? And I just thought that was like, wow. Like, it obviously was. It was detailed enough to be like, okay, this was probably scripted because there's a lot of detail in it, but like it was so much emotion that he put into it, and so much fire, and it was like sometimes
Renee, the interviewer, or the host, saying that this isn't what the show is about, even though the show is called Talking Smack.
Yeah, and he was talking smack to the extreme. It was like it felt really real, and I really hope they follow up on that and really give Miz a spotlight going forward, because I feel like I want him to be in title contention, because he's kind of been on this mid-card scene for so long, and he's always deserved more. Like, he had that chance to be the top champion and main event at WrestleMania that one year, but then he's been pretty much close to the bottom ever since then. But he's been doing so much good work the entire time. He's been
acting, got a little direct-to-DVD movie career. And
but it's like, just on the show, like, he's been doing the best work of pretty much anyone on the show, like, as far as character work, mic work. He always builds interest during his talk show segment, which can be death for a lot of other people. But, like, he's doing great work, and I just want to see him acknowledged for that, because, like, he really deserves it.
I think that people gained a lot of respect from this past week, me included.
Yeah, so I really hope they follow up on that. And yeah, so that was the highlight of the week, really. Even like including SummerSlam and Raw and everything else. That segment from The Miz was like, that was exciting. That was kind of like his pipe bomb moment. It was like, oh, okay, hopefully they're going somewhere with this.
Do you think that I hope that Daniel Bryan can at least make one more return to the ring. I don't know how bad like his concussion and his brain injury issues are, but I've been reading stuff that like the reason why the WWE won't let him wrestle again and put him in this position as SmackDown general managers is because they don't want another Chris Benoit situation.
Yeah.
Where
the Chris Benoit thing was really
Benoit.
It was really a black mark on their
he was an active
wellness
wrestler
policy. It was a black mark on their wellness policy as far as how their doctors evaluate people and their concussion policy. So they really don't want anything like that, or just with everybody worried about concussions and brain injuries in general in all of sports, they don't want to be seen as the irresponsible party. So I feel like if he's ever going to wrestle again, it won't be with the WWE. And I really, like, as much as I enjoyed seeing him wrestle and it was really exciting, like, I just don't think it should be worth it for him to go back.
Yeah, brain damage. Yeah, come on.
Because, like, you can have great matches, but really, like, is one or two additional great matches worth possibly never wrestling again or having some kind of life-ending brain injury? So it was like, I want good matches from Daniel Bryan, but I'll have to just go back and watch them on the WWE Network.
Nice plug.
Yeah, for $9.99.
Free trial.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's it for our show. So you want to give out your information for how people can reach out to you on social media?
Sure. My Twitter handle is @AnthonyHoffman. You can find me on Facebook, Anthony Hoffman as well. My Instagram handle thingy is @TonyHoffmanChi, CHI.
And I'm on Twitter @ZachFromChicago. That's ZAC from Chicago. You can follow this podcast on Twitter at FrustratedGrad. And we're on YouTube, youtube.com/frustratedgrads. And I'm also on YouTube myself, youtube.com/Zach Hughes. That's ZAC Hughes. All right, so that's it for this episode of The Frustrated Wrestling Fan. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And that's all you get for today.